Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to clean the sensor on the Nikon Z7 camera. Should work the same for the Z6. I wouldn't generally be cleaning a camera sensor so soon after owning it, but just spent a few weeks in Europe, and during that trip where I forgot handy things like my little blower, I got crap on the sensor and tried to clean it with my mouth, which of course ended in me spitting on the sensor and trying to clean it with a lens cleaner cloth. So now that I've got you cringing from that horrific detail, finally, once I got to Iceland, I just switched to my D850 and left this in the bag just for some things because I just could not get it clean enough to use, spots in the photos, that sort of thing. So if you check in the description, I have links to all the products I'm about to use to wet clean this sensor. I'm going to be using some sensor swabs type 3 as well as Eclipse solution. Use those for a long time for when I need to do it. But you are going to find that most of the time you don't need to wet clean your sensor. If you're starting to get the spots, just go ahead and use one of these awesome little bulb tools. Really great. Just hang your camera upside down, flip the mirror, assuming you're shooting with a mirrored camera, as opposed to this. Or what I'll do is also use canned air pretty commonly, which is, of course, more dangerous than just using the blower because it's not just pure air. You're going to be having contaminants. So you're going to have to be real careful using it. But it tends to be what I do before almost every wedding. So as long as you're careful, it can work. But in a worst case scenario, like I have right now, where you have no choice but to wet clean your sensor, that's what we're going to do. So it's real easy to do. It's not easy to damage your sensor. A lot of people are scared to do it, but once you do it yourself the first time, you'll wonder why you ever paid anyone else to do it. So you're just going to need a couple drops of solution on your sensor swab, and then you're going to press semi-firmly, just like the instructions, drag it across, and then drag it back the other way. And for the most part, that usually gets the worst of it. It's hard for me to entirely tell if I'm going to get it perfectly clean this try with the camera in my way and whatnot, but we're going to give it a shot. So another thing I found while researching how to clean this camera is people wondering whether you can clean the sensor because obviously it is stabilized. So from the research I have done, when you turn off the Nikon Z6 and Z7 cameras, it stabilizes or turns off the stabilization in the sensor, so it locks the sensor. So when I go to do this, uh, you won't have the sensor moving around or concerns about damaging it, but it does say in Nikon's manual not to clean the sensor physically, which is pretty impossible to do. So uh, again, do this at your own risk, but obviously I'm doing it with my camera and I'm not too concerned about it. So go ahead and take it out of the packaging. Try to keep it clean, of course. And what you're going to do is just take a couple dabs of solution and dampen that. So you're not going to want to overdo it. And then hold your camera and you're going to firmly press on the sensor and drag it off in one direction. You can see I'm bending the swab a little bit. And then go ahead and do it again one more time, this time in the other direction with the theoretically clean slide. So remove it and then check your sensor. That actually looks like it did a really excellent job. I don't know if you're able to see it in this video or not, but yeah, that's a quick show of how you clean the sensor. Again, this will work the same if you own, say, a Nikon D750, 850, whatever. You're just going to go into your menu settings, make sure your camera battery is full, and go into the menu setup and click on lock up the mirror for sensor cleaning. You're going to lock up the mirror and do it the same way. This is actually way easier to do on the Z7, obviously, because it's right out here in your face. So that was the easiest sensor cleaning I have ever done by far, which is great. The big problem I found while traveling with this camera throughout Europe, just as I expected, is much easier to get the sensor dirty and much harder to clean if you forget to bring along your handy little blow thing to blow off dust and you spit on your sensor like an idiot like I did. So um, the other trick, again, being out in the weather, I found was changing it like in the rain. It was hard not to, even with the camera upside down, I was still getting some slight raindrop and mist on the sensor very easily, which dried right up. But you're gonna have to be way more careful using this and keeping it clean than with your regular DSLR cameras. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. If it has, please subscribe. And again, in the description below. You'll find links to some of the products I just used